Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is directed by Andre Oredo, and is written by, the story is created by Guillermo del Toro. And in this story, it's based on a series of children's books that were popular
back in my time.
Yeah, I never read them, so I didn't even know these were based on books.
Based on books, and they're this is back basically. If you guys around people my age probably remember, back in the 90s, there was you had Goosebumps.
Yeah,
and around Goosebumps there was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which pretty much was its other competition.
Yeah.
And this is the book that I remember walking into school, and you remember, I don't know, you were probably too young on this. I remember this, but our library would always do new release books and put them on like the little the main shelves and stuff. And I remember when these popped up when they first came out, and these were, at its time, was pushing the limits for kids.
Yeah, I heard they were banned in some libraries because of
some schools. For the most part, schools allowed it, but there were some schools that said that because the librarians didn't really know every book. So when they started hearing rumors that it actually went into gross detail of like what happened to people. Now I can't remember 100% because I haven't read these since the 90s. I had the collection where I had the big box and it came the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I mean, came out I think with 3, if I can remember. There was just 3, but inside them were kind of like a creep show thing where it had different stories. I believe the story that we watched tonight, the make a movie, they created to make it a movie instead of just
kind of like
anthology.
What they did with the Goosebumps movie.
Basically, it's basically we had Goosebumps that came out a couple years ago, which was, instead of going in this direction, because Goosebumps in a way was kind of dark, but it was dark for little kids. This was for
kind of like
junior high school,
teenagers, basically.
But it also pushed limits. Because it got away with a lot of detail.
And in the story in this, it deals with these group of kids set in 1968, where you have these group of kids that end up hanging out for Halloween. They end up going to this creepy haunted house, and they discover this book that they deal with, which is what he described. It basically tells the tale of this woman named Sarah Bellows who writes scary stories for children. And basically, not to spoil anything, but there's something that involves this book that involves these creatures.
It's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. The book is writing itself,
and these creatures start to come to life and stalk the kids. And they have to find a way to stop it. And after seeing the trailers, I got really hyped for this because one of the things that drew me in from the get-go was the fact that going into it, the story was created by Guillermo del Toro, and this is the second film that going into it that I've seen that he didn't direct, but you can tell that he had some involvement, kind of like he did with this movie some years back called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, where he wrote the story but he didn't direct it.
And 2 things that got me was the imagery that they were having in this film and the nostalgia. I read the books. I remember the pretty creepy ass pictures in the books too, and I'll tell you right now, when we get starting, now getting into our pros, I will say they did capture the looks of what the book and the imagery, how they looked spot the fuck on. I did think that the imagery of these creatures were fucking fantastic looking.
They were, definitely, and I gotta say, after seeing the movie, I actually quite enjoyed it. It was definitely pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I have some little flaws here and there, but I actually thought, compared to Goosebumps, where it got too kiddish for me, even though the first one wasn't that bad, the second one I heard was not that great. I just thought overall, I guess fitting for its time. It's kind of hard because there's people here that said that they were wondering what it would have been like if it was R-rated.
Because they were going with a rating with PG-13 with this one, because they were trying to break the grounds of not going too grotesque, but at the same time still keeping it where it's more
these are teenagers. These are teenagers. This was a teenage book, like I said, back whenever I was younger. So I can actually for the first time agree why it's PG-13. However, I do wish maybe they could have, since it I think they're trying to gain notoriety for new people because they want to revive the books again, and that's why they did it PG-13 so everybody can come and see it. But I think in a way it's also paying nostalgia to the people that got the books when they first came out back, who are obviously well in either late 20s, mid 30s like me, or later on. So
yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
but to get my pros out of the way, I will say that the biggest highlight I have this movie the most is the imagery, like you were saying. It just the creatures, the way they look. I was glad to see that they were sticking to a majority with practical effects, because if you know Del Toro, he likes to blend a lot of practical effects with a lot of his movies, and you can tell that from the way that they were going with the creatures look, especially the scarecrow looking dude.
Yeah, scarecrow guy, the red looking fucking
they looked
thing.
something straight out of what Del Toro would have done in his movies.
And he was perfect choice, in my opinion, as far as the looks of these, because you need to really take a look at some of the books. And the artistic parts of the pictures and stuff. They look spot the fuck on.
They kind of look like something out of like H.P. Lovecraft, from what I've heard too.
I think that somewhat was inspired. The guy who wrote the original books was inspired by them. Yeah. Not only that, I think they're inspired by Stephen King too.
Yeah,
because this is a kind of Pennywise-ish story where it attacks your fears. And it writes it out.
Yeah,
so I actually kind of like that.
I actually do too. That was the other thing I liked about this story, was that it plays on the idea of basically. Actually, it also plays kind of a combination of. Final Destination in a way, because literally the stuff where they're going after the kids and stuff. Yeah, it's almost like
the wind, the like Grim Reaper thing, and then throughout the story, not that it's really a big deal, like this is a main plot or anything, but there's this kind of narration, remind me of Tony Todd, where you hear him in the background talking, like you'll see like cars parking, and you hear this guy talking, speaking in the radio, and it sounds like fucking like something like Tony Todd. Yeah, you guys remember back in Final Destination
3?
Yeah, or like you said, Candyman 2.
Where you had like a narrator going, like a guy who's doing over this voiceover. He's like, "We got the fear coming," or whatever.
Yeah. They have this thing going on, which was kind of funny. But it's like Final Destination.
Yeah, but what I also appreciate too with the most is the atmosphere also really blends well. Like the scene, because I thought that for going into it was going to take place primarily on Halloween, because about the first 20 minutes or so it takes place in there. Yeah. And it actually puts you in the right atmosphere.
I actually wish they would have stuck with the Halloween theme throughout, and it'd be like an all-day thing. Take place on October 31st. Yeah. I wish they would have went with that little route a little bit and brought more Halloween to it, because when I first saw the Halloween theme in the first 20 minutes, I was like, I love that it's taking place in this night. Unfortunately, it's by day. It's like so that kind of was a little disappointment.
The visual effects they use in some other areas too, like the way that you see like this one creature that's got puts his bones together and shit.
Yeah, while he's a Jingle Man.
Yeah. While there is some CGI there noticeable, the way it was shot, like in the dark and stuff, it blended well with the practical effects.
I think that was a smart decision to keep it more dark, in the very dark where he's around. Yeah.
But I also got to admit, the kids in this movie too, they were great too. The kids. There was also the main girl that we focus on. You also start to learn more about her past and stuff, and it goes into a blend of how it's parallel with the story, basically.
In the first 20 minutes, it started to remind me of Stranger Things.
That's what I was getting that idea too.
Kind of vibe where they're sitting there talking on the radio and stuff. And you know what? That was another thing I was actually surprised. I from the trailers thought this was going to take place in the 80s.
Yeah, I did too, because I
think maybe they should have done another 80s theme. This better than the 68. I mean, maybe that would have been kind of cool, because
this felt more akin to like the period of the Conjuring movies take place. Yeah, which actually is great too, because I love the production design they have. It actually resembles the 60s and everything, and you get like the the cars, and it's around this period when Richard Nixon is getting elected president.
Yeah, and during Vietnamish. Yeah, because the whole Dodge thing they got going on. The atmosphere was there. Like I said, nostalgia was great.
Yeah, the other biggest thing too is, kind of like we described the books, they get away with some shit in this I didn't think they would do. Like, they push the boundaries where they do a lot of grotesque shit that I didn't think they would get away with.
Yeah, they keep it on the PG-13 grotesque, where it does show like imagery, but they hardly have any blood, but there's like like eyeballs popping out.
Yeah,
and
you have
like that.
you have like
it's bloodless stabbing basically, but you see the
you see what it also does too, like because one of the most like grotesque parts I remember, there's a part where the girl had like the fucking
spider thing was creepy.
That was like
well, what about the guy that was eating the
that too? Yeah, that was nasty. I was like, ugh.
And I'll tell you probably the most part, the one part that gets almost slasher vibe is the Harold part.
Yeah,
it's the guy.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he starts like slowly becoming and choking on the hay and all that stuff. That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, but if I have like really any this is now where I kind of get to some of my cons.
Yeah,
I will say that while the movie is it keeps me invested with a lot of the creatures coming in and stuff. I like the story the way it was going, because when it gets to the end, it does play into kind of like on a directional standpoint, it goes back and forth between like current time and past time. I like the way it was shot in that regard.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, before we get into our cons. But yeah, back into getting our cons. Now, while I did say that like the nostalgia whole thing with the looks and everything, I do have a problem with them rushing through some of them.
Yeah,
because it seemed like it becomes more of a let's kill this person off, let's go to this one, let's kill that person off, and I felt like the movie, while another con, the first 15-20 minutes was kind of pacey, and it was not getting to the fucking point, because it was really digging deep into like a story about that girl and her mom, which really had no point in this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, because I've heard people bitch about that, and I kind of have to agree that if you mention it once, it's okay, but if you dig deep like 3-4 times, but then it makes no sense to the story, it becomes an issue.
Yeah, I did kind of notice that. Now that I think about it, yeah, you just reminded me. I did notice that they didn't really lead much to that. Yeah, so I did have a problem with that. Now that I think about it,
but like I said, they rushed through a lot of the good stuff, like like you see the red imagery, you got the Herald thing. It's really just told so quickly, and I also got... That's where it's moving so fast.
Yeah, and while there is a cool thing that they do toward the end, I did feel like this is kind of the really problem. Well, there's two things. One, the way that how the story is floating with them writing the books and stuff, where it's all going. It's very spot on, predictable how things lead.
I'd say the third the third act is it plays it safe by going by the standard of tropes where it can get into anticlimactic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, right with Sarabella, and it was just pretty simple. A lot of people did complain that there are a lot of part of the cool, like in the books, there's like more to the stories, like there's other cool ass creatures, but from what I heard, they're going to save it for a part 2, which I hear they want to do, and they
kind of lead it up to this in that second. We won't spoil, but basically, the movie pretty much, it goes in your typical ending territory that, let's just say, it gets solved so fast that there's really no like stakes are high, kind of speak. Yeah. And also
some parts can also, when they do that with the whole rushing rushing some of the scenes, it becomes an editing issue where it's kind of jumpy. It kind of feels kind of jumpy.
Yeah.
But there was one thing I did want to say that on the pushing boundaries thing real quick before we go back to some more of our cons. I was actually kind of surprised for PG-13 they were getting away with a lot of racial.
Yeah, they were actually getting away with saying certain stuff like that I didn't think they would get away with in this.
We were talking, saying racial crap to the Mexican kid and stuff. Yeah, and it was actually saying some of the derogatory words that you would say. And I'm like, oh, damn, that's...
I know, that's kind of... Wow.
But anyways, back to the cons, sure, I'd like to see it R-rated and more grotesque, but in a way, it's 50-50, because I can also see why it's PG-13.
Because it's also, the books themselves are more for kids, so I can get why they wanted to go with that. Yeah. But at the same time, you're thinking in your head, like, okay, the stuff that these creatures do, I actually could do in an R-rated movie. I could see that.
And be honest with you, even though that, the book, while way too grotesque, they say, for us back when it first came out, it was still at the same way was considered tame.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But
now, like this movie, if you want your kid to have a they say gateway drug, right? Great gateway movie.
Yeah.
Horror film, probably safer to watch this.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's basically, if you wanted to see more of what Goosebumps would have done, like kind of pushing boundaries.
Because Goosebumps, I wouldn't call that a gateway horror.
Because it's more
that
for
one
kids.
way too rated G to even to push any type of boundaries.
No, this one they actually go further up.
Yeah.
So
if they would have went with if they would have played it too safe, this would have been a problem because you got to understand to understand what I'm saying. You got to read the book.
Yeah, I know.
And you'll actually after you read them, you'll be like, damn, they actually allowed that in school.
I know.
Yeah, even though it wasn't too gruesome, but
overall though, I will say that I was fairly entertained with this movie, and it's definitely something I would check out as far as my horror collection.
Yeah.
Because it's been especially I'm such a diehard fan of Del Toro that it's like I'm always, even if he does direct the movie, I still want to see what he gets involved with, and I actually do want to see.
I actually
what
think
they
that when they do
this.
when they do the sequel, because they do leave out some even more scary and menacing like monsters.
Yeah.
Which I heard is going to be in the second one because there's a ton of them. I do want to see maybe letting Del Toro take over directing.
I do too.
Yeah, I wish that it. Before I mentioned my grade. My con is when you watch the overall film, you felt like maybe they could have put a lot more work into it a little bit. Overall, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Could have put like Del Toro's writing probably would have like stretched out better and made a more compelling and complex story. I wish it would have came out more.
Yeah.
Because if you watch this, even though I did enjoy this film, it is very simple.
It is.
And I just wish they would have detailed it more. And you know Del Toro's known for that.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it was. I hope he could do the sequel.
I do too.
Yeah.
But
it was weird seeing Hank in there.
I know from Breaking Bad.
He really hasn't much to say in this film other than being this girl's dad, and he's pretty much traumatized that his wife left him.
Yeah. Which. Yeah, that's when.
He's the only main like actual famous actor I know.
Besides the cop, he was from Shawshank.
Yeah. True.
So
yeah.
But yeah, overall though, I did enjoy the movie, and with that, I'm gonna probably give it like maybe a compelling grade on the Film Freaks meter.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Well, I'm a little bit under you. I'm gonna go low compelling grade in Film Freaks meter.
Fair enough. For those of you who have also seen scary stories to tell in the dark, let us know, and also the books that they're based off of. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about them, and if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmfreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.